Alex had always believed that love was visible in the smallest gestures. Holding hands in the park, sharing quiet smiles across a crowded room. The subtle reassurance of touch. But with Sarah, the gestures began to fade. At first, it was small things. A hand lingering just a second too short. An arm brushing against his but not holding on. Excuses about discomfort or tiredness. He tried to ignore it, convincing himself she was just shy, or that public displays weren't her style. Yet every outing with friends or family reminded him that something had changed. Sarah would tuck her hand behind her back, shuffle slightly when he reached for her, or keep her distance under the guise of casual conversation. The more Alex noticed it, the more it gnawed at him. Something wasn't right, and he needed to know why. That evening, they attended a family gathering at her mother's house. The room was lively, laughter, clinking glasses, and the warm hum of conversation. Alex reached for her hand as they walked in, and as expected, Sarah pulled away subtly, fingers brushing but never entwining. He felt the sting, but he didn't react publicly. Instead, he stayed calm, smiling, participating in the conversation as if nothing was wrong. Later, when everyone settled in the living room, Alex saw the perfect opportunity. Sarah was chatting with her friends, still distant, still evasive with even the smallest touch. He decided that night wasn't just another evening. It was the moment to reveal what he had discovered, to speak a truth that would leave no room for pretense. He waited until the conversation naturally turned toward relationships, subtle comments from Sarah's mother sparking a discussion about trust and honesty in marriage. That's when Alex leaned forward, voice steady, eyes clear, and shared what he had seen over the past months. The avoidance, the cold gestures, the emotional distance. He didn't accuse or yell. He simply laid out the truth with calm precision, allowing the reality to speak for itself. Sarah froze, her hand still tucked behind her back, as her mother's eyes widened in shock. The words hung in the air like a weight that couldn't be ignored. Alex didn't need drama. The room went quiet, tension rising as the truth he revealed reshaped the narrative. That night, everything changed. Not because of anger, not because of confrontation, but because of the clarity he delivered. The room remained quiet for a moment longer, the weight of Alex's words settling in. Sarah's mother, who had always seen herself as the guardian of her daughter's happiness, stared at him with wide eyes. Alex didn't flinch. He continued, calmly detailing the small but consistent patterns he had noticed. How Sarah avoided holding his hand in public, how she seemed distant even in private, how her subtle gestures signaled a shift he could no longer ignore. Sarah's face paled, and she looked at her mother as if searching for support, for someone to back her up. But Alex's delivery had removed ambiguity. There were no accusations, no dramatic outbursts, just a clear and precise recounting of truth. The mother's eyes shifted between the two of them, disbelief turning into realization as she began to see what Alex had lived with quietly for months. He didn't stop there. He explained how he had tried everything: patience, gentle encouragement, and countless small gestures of affection. But each attempt had been met with subtle resistance or indifference. He spoke without anger, without raising his voice, but the firmness in his tone left no room for doubt. He had been patient, understanding, and loyal. Yet the avoidance continued, leaving him no choice but to address it directly. Sarah's attempts to interject were weak, halting. Alex remained composed, letting his words sink in, and the truth became undeniable. Her mother, visibly shaken, finally asked Sarah a simple question. Why? And in that moment, Sarah faltered. Her carefully maintained defenses crumbled as she realized the evidence of her distance could no longer be hidden. The room's atmosphere shifted from tension to raw clarity. Alex had not humiliated anyone. He had simply revealed reality, forcing honesty to surface in a way that no confrontation could achieve. And as he spoke, he felt a strange mix of relief and empowerment. The secret that had weighed on him for months, the invisible barrier between them, the withheld affection, was now acknowledged openly, leaving no room for pretense. Alex didn't gloat, he didn't celebrate. Instead, he felt a quiet sense of authority and clarity. By revealing the truth to her mother, he had changed the dynamics completely. He had shown that he would no longer tolerate emotional distance or hidden neglect. And in that quiet, tense room, the reality of their marriage began to emerge, stark and unavoidable. That night, after the gathering ended and the house quieted, Alex reflected on what had happened. He hadn't needed to raise his voice or create drama. He had simply presented the truth, letting the reality speak for itself. Sarah's mother had seen it, understood it, and the weight of Alex's calm authority lingered in the room long after they had left. Sarah remained quiet, no longer able to hide behind avoidance or subtle gestures. For the first time, she realized that the distance she had created, the coldness she had practiced, could no longer be ignored. Alex hadn't forced her into a corner. He had only held a mirror to their marriage, showing her the undeniable truth of her actions. Alex felt a strange sense of relief, mixed with empowerment. The control he had lost over the public image of their relationship had been quietly reclaimed. From that moment on, the dynamics had shifted, not because of punishment, but because he had acted with dignity, clarity, and purpose. And while the future remained uncertain, one thing was clear. Alex had spoken the truth, and in doing so, he had not only shocked Sarah and her mother, but he had also reminded himself that respect, honesty, and self-worth were non-negotiable.